Any questions before we begin so far? Anyone got any questions on any of the pre-reading I sent out? Or? Right, okay.
Makes sense.
Okay, yeah. So I'm going to focus more on the mind and the way that works in terms of nutrition. So in terms of weight reduction, I think a lot of the emphasis on weight reduction is around exercise. It's around sort of punishing ourselves what we eat. Exercise is obviously important, it's imperative, and what we eat is really important too. But I think sort of punishing yourself in regards to what you eat is probably not a good idea. So I look at things a little bit different, the way we associate the food and so on and so forth. Before we sort of rattle on, any questions on anything sort of that you read, anything you want to sort of, before we sort of roll on? Okay, so you give me free roll on. I'm going to try and keep it experiential too. So I'll look at like types of eaters first of all. Let me just give you an example now. One time I was doing a seminar in London. I was doing this seminar in London. It's a huge amount of people. I do like seminars around the world. I travel everywhere. And I was taking a walk, as you do, my adrenaline was really racing. And I went for a walk in the evening. It was late at night. And you know the big screen in London, that huge sort of screen, there's a big screen. I was watching the screen and I was paying attention to the advert, as you do. For whatever reason, I don't know. And I had like a window cleaner being hoisted. And these girls were like drooling over this guy, and he's a window cleaner. He's really physically, obviously done a lot of training. He's not your typical window cleaner. No offense to my window cleaner, by the way. He's like got this six pack, and all of a sudden you hear it's 11 o'clock. It's 11 o'clock. It's 11 o'clock, and you kind of realise then that. From our point of view, we talk about, from a psychological point of view, we talk about operating and classical conditioning. That was more classical conditioning, where it was I don't want to mention the drink because I don't want to give promotion, but so basically the 11 o'clock was an anchor. So they're associating in the mind of the person that drink. That drink, if I was to describe it, is full of chemicals, sugar, horrendous. But the association to it is what they do on the advert. Now that was the window cleaner, the window cleaner, Diet Coke, whatever it was, or the Coke ad. I'm sure you know what it was, but you can see, if I was going to advert that, if I was advertising, say, a sugar drink, I'd probably turn up and say, well, here you go. You've got water, chemicals, and 20 things of sugar. Would you buy it? You probably tell me where to go, But they use branding, they use it really, really powerful. It's almost like hypnotic, the way they do it. It's really, really hypnotic. And I'm not saying that they're the only ones that do it, by the way. It goes on everywhere. It's association. And so, for me, that's why I say not to be too hard on people who are stuck in a situation where they're not eating well, because all the adverts you see are very heavily influenced by operant conditioning and classical conditioning. And we walk through an aisle in the store, and you don't know why. You look at it, and it has an emotional response, and that's their job. Okay, so their job is not to tell you what it is and that sort of stuff. So it's our job to sort of recondition the mind and reassociate to these sort of things. Now, in my experience, and years ago, I've been working in my field for years. For the last 20 or so years, I've been working in physical, the mind. I've studied a number of different modalities. I've been to universities. I've done many courses. I've studied psychology. I've studied NLP, hypnotherapy. I'm in neuroscience now. So I've been doing this stuff for a long time. And one time I was doing a radio for the BBC Radio Manchester. And this woman I was working with, Margaret, she was looking to reduce in weight as well. And she was told, actually, if memory serves me correct, and I stand corrected, and I don't know the full detail, that she was told she couldn't reduce in weight for whatever reason. I don't know the reason beyond that. I'm not a medical person. I deal with the mind. But that in itself was almost like a presupposition for her. And then she felt that everything that she did would never work. Okay? And when she came to me to work with me, she said, "What do you think?" I said, I don't know. I'm not a medical person. I don't know why they've told you what they've told you. But we can have a go, because they've cleared to have a go. And we sort of worked together, and we sort of, in a way, cut through all the associations she had to all the foods that she was eating. And she fell in the category of what we call sometimes a comfort eater. She was in her mid-60s, about to retire. Her husband had passed, I believe, if I remember correctly. But she was on her own, and she would eat from a comfort point of view, and also she's an emotional eater. And we did a lot of work, and a lot of the work involved her not just around eating, about her getting her life back. Because when you're enjoying yourself in a good place, you tend to sort of eat better. Okay? And by the end of the series, it was quite interesting because she did reduce the weight. She was looking to reduce whatever it was, 2 stone, whatever. But more importantly than the weight reduction was the fact that she'd been swimming for the first time in 56 years. She had a swimming phobia. So I did what we call timeline and other processes to help overcome that. That's another story for another day. And through going swimming again, it was really, really wonderful because she sort of booked her first holiday for years. She went to Spain with her friends, and she wouldn't go on holiday because she was too afraid of being near a pool. So she got their life back completely. She'd do social mornings on a Tuesday. It was about her life getting back. The transcript's out there, you can listen to it. And I was a remarkable woman to think, okay, she'd resigned herself to social avoidance, to staying indoors, and that was the end of that. And just through reducing it a little bit, and it wasn't about the weight, it was about the social interaction. So I think, exercise is great. Social activity is great, but also one thing that a lot of people forget is the food aspect. And I'm not really a big fan of these sort of groups that say they have a go at you if you've eaten a biscuit. I'm not a fan of this point system, all that rubbish, and science will tell you they don't work really well. Now, for goodness sake, if you eat a biscuit, it's not the end of the world. You don't need to beat yourself up even more. If you don't have compassion for yourself, what you'll do, you won't just eat one biscuit. You're going to tell yourself off and demolish the whole packet. Eat a biscuit, it's fun. You're not going to put 2 stone on one biscuit. No one has put weight on overnight, okay, that I know of in all the time I've been doing what I do. It takes time, and we put weight on because we change life. We go through stress, we go through trials, we go through tribulations. Me as an athlete, I put a lot of weight on years ago because I was eating the same as I would eat when I was competing in sport. You eat the same as when you're competing in sport, and all the carbohydrates within a short period of time. You put on weight. And I thought, well, I'm going back into sport professionally. I want to be a role model for the young people. I'm training to be professional sports people. I'm going to have to start reducing and seriously take a good hard look at myself and make things work. And you can do it. But I say for me, it's about a sensible plan. Not trying to these sort of fad, diets, and you see them all the time. And unless obviously someone has nutritional advice, they have a certain nutritional plan. For the greatest good, really, a lot of these things that come out, they're not sustainable. Okay? Because in the end, it's not as easy as that. So people go through challenges, people have babies, all these things in life can change one's life, and sometimes from a social point of view, food. So I don't want to go too much to the nutritional side, that's not my area. But I know enough to know what I want to get across, because it's really important to get this across. And what I want to get across is that I'm going to talk about calories, and I'm probably going to find there's going to be a nutritionist group who's going to challenge me on this, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. The reason being, I'm going to stay for sort of old money in this context. If you want to do calories for another day, I'm quite happy to do so too, by the way. But for now, what I want to focus on is, okay, I know there are different calories. I know different foods have different nutritional values. But equally, irrespective of what food you eat to get the calories, you eat a lot, you don't exercise, what's going to happen, do you think? The formula is simple. And people, for a long time, have tried to make, I believe, in my opinion, money off people, do this, do that, do whatever, write books, write this, and the information they're giving out a lot of the time is just difficult for the person who's got to drop the kids off at school and doing this and going to work, and we're at a reality check here, It's all right prescribing these nutritional plans to people who are in training for a movie or for an athlete, but that can sustain them. But the general person, I think, in my opinion, is going to find it difficult to, this is 1 point, this is 3 points, and then in the industry, the sod of all that, So I want to focus on, okay, they say that 3,500 calories is 1 pound, the equivalent in terms of if you didn't burn it off. Now, 860 is a cheeseburger. So if you were to eat, say, a chocolate bar is about 500. If you had a chocolate bar every day and you burn as much as you consume at a basic metabolic rate, you'd put on about a pound a week. And in a year, you'd put on about 52 pounds. See, the weight doesn't come on overnight? You don't even notice it, then bang, It happened to me when I was playing sport, and I had to give up for injury. So the point being is that we want to have a food diary, because it's easy to kid ourselves and say, well, I'm eating well. You probably are eating well 90% of the time, but the key is to see what's tipping over the edge. And the danger of exercising, by the way, of all the benefits, is that you think you're exercising, you do a great session, I can burn it off now. I can burn it off now. Well, the facts are, on a treadmill, over an hour, you're going to burn about 200 calories. So not even a quarter of a damn cheeseburger an hour run. You know, I don't know who designed all this. You know, don't have a go at me. Have a go at whoever decided this sort of stuff. But you know, half a chocolate bar an hour on treadmill, and that's, you know, it's not really fair, is it? Because chocolate's nice. I think we all like chocolate, and I've mentioned for reasons earlier, the associations that we have to, and also the sugar too, and many other things. So, you know, metabolic rate is, the equation is pretty simple. It's your body weight times 11. That's just a very rough guesstimation. So let's say you're 200 pound times 11, 2,200 pound. That would be your basic metabolic rate. How much you would burn every day, just sitting. If we sat here till tomorrow, 24 hours, we'd burn about, say, 2,200. It's a little bit less for women, a bit more for men, so they say, but give or take, we need to take that in consideration. If you train every day, you can knock another 200-300 calories off. If you train with Paul, you're probably 400 calories. It will push you hard. If you train with me, you'll probably have 10 calories. Because I walk around the lake. Actually, snooker for me is training these days. I count my snooker session as exercise now, as you do. But a walk around the lake for me is probably about 20 calories, if I'm lucky. But, you know, I get the benefits. I'm mindful, and there's many, many health benefits of training, by the way. And I won't go into them because I'm not a medical person. But from a psychological point of view, I will go into it. Endorphins in the brain, you feel better. If you feel better, you're not going to eat comfort foods. And by the way, I think it's really important too. I had a conversation with a colleague of mine, and he was saying how people with anxiety, I don't completely buy into it because I'm not a reductionist, I think holistically, but he was linking between having too much sugar in the morning and anxiety. He was suggesting that people eat more protein to stabilise blood sugar, but that's another story for another day, and anxiety is very multifactorial. That's not the only answer, but something to think about, for sure, you know. And certainly the training is imperative. But the danger is you train, and you decide, you know what, I'm going to stop at the fast food outlet, and then you have like a cheeseburger, and then you got to, it's just not good. And that's what I want to get at. So this is what we want to go after. Because if you get on top of this, you're okay. But the key is really not to think, I've blown it, I've messed things up, when things don't go well. The key is when things don't go well, think, okay, it's just a day, tomorrow we go again, and modify it. I think it's like going to a swimming pool. Sometimes you don't dive in, you sort of test the water, you just go in there, and you're on the way. So bear that in mind, you know, and that's the sort of key. Any questions so far? Everyone's up to speed? Okay, so that's the sort of aim. How do we? So we want to change our associations with food. So we can see if you look at food as energy. We can see, reassociate the foods that are causing us problems as problematic. Not to mention all the health reasons, and you can do your own research, and these days food's got a lot of chemicals. I think if you went away from here and did nothing else other than modify sugar and processed foods, you feel a whole lot better. Because really it's about feeling better. It's about you being happy with yourself in a versatile way. I think if you start being happy with yourself, which we all can do more of, then we tend to reduce weight easier. And for me, modifying sugar and processed food was a good way to start feeling better. Much, much better. It really, really was. I actually went plant-based for a while and started juicing. And the reason being, I just wanted to get, because I do a lot of travelling, and just wanted to get rid of all that sort of run-downness I was feeling from all the travelling food. You get up in a hotel, you eat all these nice buffets. And they're hard because you look at them and think, goodness me, it's just, you know, the temptation's there, but you sort of get on with it on the way. So we can look at that and think, how do we get on top of that? Reassociation, deal with the emotion. So I was working with a client one time, and she was a really, really high-powered businesswoman, a very intelligent woman, really, really high-powered businesswoman. And she would, every time she'd come home from work, she would eat a lot of chocolate. And when I did a regression with her, timeline regression, which is a technique in hypnosis, we regressed her back to the feeling that sort of drove the behaviour. We appraise the situation. She gets home to work, doing appraise, get from work. What do you feel? I feel lonely. What do you equate to that? I don't really know. We regress her. And it turned out when she was 4 or 5-year-old, every time she'd fall down, hurt herself, or got upset, her mum would give her chocolate cake, and she built a relationship with chocolate cake and love. And she'd just broken up with her relationship. She felt lonely in herself, and basically what she would do to compensate, she'd just have that cake in the evening. Now, for the most part, she was eating well, but if you eat a chocolate cake every evening for a few months, the weight's going to come on. Irrespective of how much you train, it's going to come on. Okay? And I think these things are multifactorial, by the way. Metabolism, people have got conditions, and I can't go into this, I'm not a medical person, but obviously there are things to take into consideration too, as well. But I think for most people, it's pretty much an even playing field. You can get on top of things and go from there. So, what I want emotional eater, so you eat from an emotional point of view. Okay? It's a feeling. So for the woman, it was about feeling love when she was lonely. So we didn't just work on that area, because when people are lonely in relationships, they're lonely people on their own. The point being is to get her life back on track was the key. And obviously reduce and sort of clean up that sort of appraisal, that situation that she was going through. So I did transactional analysis, talk to the child as the adult. And I haven't got time to go into all the details of what we did, but I will do an experiential session soon, because I think, it'd be great to do a session. You got like the unconscious eaters, okay? And we've all been there. Anyone go to like a cinema and you have a popcorn, and before you know it, it's just, yeah. And that's the whole thing. You got the unconscious eater, you got the emotion, you got people who even eat from a social point of view. They go to a lot of meals from a social point of view through work, and it's hard to say no. That comes into it too. What I would say too, what's really important, you can be mindful when you eat. Become a mindful eater, okay? Take your time. If you've got time, compartmentalize when you're going to eat food. So, like from a mindful point of view, so you have a drink, whatever it is, or you eat, just take time to chew it, to taste it, to be aware of it. Okay, and in those PDFs I sent across, and I can send them across again, you don't have it, I've got a whole section on mindful eating. Anyone come across mindfulness before? It's a buzzword now. The point being, from an eating perspective, take time. If you're anything like me, it takes, well, this is me generally, until I worked on mindful eating too. It takes me about 29 minutes to decide what I want to eat, and 1 minute to just scoff it down. Okay, I don't even taste it, it's not a good thing. So now I've learned, I've reconditioned myself to sit down and eat, and just be in that moment as you do. So taste it, chew it, feel it, be there. Okay, so dealing with things like emotion and other things that are going on, that might be something that you need to deal with. I don't know. I'm not sort of here to give business cards out, come see me. If you've got things going on in your own mind, I always say it's best to see a professional in the area, even GP, and maybe get a referral if you need help in that area, because it could be something you need to deal with, and it might not be linked to food. Okay? Bearing in mind too, it's always good to see a nutritionist, because you get a plan around you. I did one of those nutritional analyses as me, and I sort of cut out foods that were causing me issues. I don't know how reliable they are, I don't know how valid they are, but I'd done one of those sort of nutritional things and sort of started cutting out things that I wasn't even aware of. When I was doing a seminar abroad, this naturopath did like a test with me. And basically I found these sort of foods that I was intolerant to. They were milk, dairy, and that sort of stuff. I don't know how reliable the test was. I'm in science too, so I could question that, but there was correlation. I thought, you know what, it's quite fascinating, and I felt better in that respect. Okay, so, from the point of view of the mind, if you're sort of struggling or things are going on, it's always good to talk to someone professionally if you choose to go down that road. Okay, any questions thus far? How many of you have covered so far? Okay, we're okay. We sort of, these aren't exhaustive unconscious eaters. These are labels. I don't really like labeling people, by the way, but this gives you an idea of the categories that people are in. So let's think emotionally, let's think comfortably, let's think socially, let's think our associations. Now when you think chocolate bar, you're going to have an association to it. When you think exercise, you're going to have an association to it. When you think nutrition food, and from the point of nutrition, the other debate is sugar. And people say, when you say, one person told me at a seminar recently, said, when you say cutting out processed sugar, what about natural sugar? There's a difference. There's a damn difference, because if you drink a drink that's been made, it's got apple, pineapple, some vegetable in there, or even if you eat it, the sugar's different, because it's got nutritional values. But what I would say, don't eat 10 watermelons, because sugar is sugar, processed not processed, but the nutritional values you get from fruit outweigh, as long as you're in moderation. If you went home tonight and you ate 20 watermelons, it wouldn't be a good idea. But eat one slice, it's okay. You know, someone picked up on me one time because I was eating a pineapple. I said, dude, you know, I can't just eat lettuce or rabbit food. You know, I've got, you know, try and get through life just eating green. For goodness me, you know. And I told him anyway, you know, knock 5 years off if you want. I need to have some pasta, pizza, the odd curry here or there. Because life is life, you know. Life's about enjoying yourself too. So I try and do like an 80-20 rule these days, where when I'm sort of traveling and during the week and I'm on it, and on the weekend I'm just a bit more flexible in that respect. But after a while you start eating the more high nutritional value food, you feel so good, you kind of think, well, to heck with the foods that are causing me issues, so to speak. And another thing that's motivation too, for sure, I think too, from a parent perspective, is that the statistics are, if you're obese, your children are more likely to be obese too. And that's fact. That's scientific fact. So, okay, you can tell your children, don't eat that food, but if you're eating it, if you're, like the classic example is, if someone's smoking and says their child not to smoke, then obviously they're not going to really pay too much attention. They might not pay attention if you don't smoke. You're in shape too, because behaviour is not just about what they see, what they do. There's many correlations, but they've got a better chance. There's plenty of motives, and what I want to do now is a bit practical. So set a goal, okay, in your own mind. You have to set a concrete goal that's flexible. But think of a goal, a way you'd like to be, because goals are important. Does anyone set like a goal for their? Yeah, okay. So it has to be, it can be a flexible goal, but a goal of what you want, not what you don't want. Not set in negative tense. I don't want to be this, what weight you want to be. When I say realistic, I get a call every January, because I work in hypnosis and the mind, saying, I need to book in a session. I need to lose weight fast. I said, what do you want me to do? I heard you do hypnosis, and hypnosis works for weight loss. And it's like, okay, but like I mentioned, we work on these areas. Is it possible to lose weight in a week? Wow, I'm kind of thinking, goodness me, it's pretty scary. And I had a caller actually last time, you saying, can I book a session in with you? I need to lose weight really, really quickly. What's the fastest you can help me lose weight? I said, well, all I can do is help you do whatever issues are going on. I don't have a magic wand. And he goes, what would it take? I said, you book a session every day for the next 20 years, we might get there, meaning you need to go away and re-examine. And he said, well, someone else said I could do it in 2 weeks. I said, well, go somewhere else. Because it's not safe. If nothing else, if you reduce in that time frame, you're just probably going to lose water levels and you're not sort of burning what you need to burn off there. These ridiculous fads, they just, go away type thing. Seriously, the rubbish that's written out there, circulate on the internet these days, got no basis. It doesn't take a day, 2 weeks to put it on. And I think for me, give yourself a third of what it took to put it on is probably realistic, in my opinion anyway. If you know otherwise, good luck to you. But I've been in this field for many, many years. People might not like what I say, because it's not what they want to hear, but I'll tell people what they need to hear. I'm not going to BS people, because I want to try and sell a book or sell a seminar or sell a session. I tell people the truth, and then it's up to them to do what they want to do. But when you get to your goal and you're sustaining it, you're in a better place and it'll stay off. And you'll have a bit of turbulence every now and again. You don't become these yo-yo people who go from sort of, everywhere. And everybody else's fault too, by the way. And the trend is getting worse, because as a society we became more and more sedentary. Okay? Anyone knows which countries lead the way? No, actually, UK is not too bad. Australia's got the gold medal now. They got the gold medal, overtaking America. Get in there. We're gold at something these days, yeah? They don't do too good no more at Olympics. So a gold medal in, I'm originally from Australia, so I can say that's okay. It's a bit of banter, but that's a gold medal now. And you know, and I don't mean to be pedantic or patronizing, but the thing is, really, it's sort of, for me, part of it's down to every damn suburb has got 10 drive-throughs there. And you've got to feel for people. Because in the day, you're driving through and you're hungry, you've been working all day. It's very tempting. Can't beat people up for doing that. You know, and you think, well, if more places. See, I shop at places where they're organic and local stores and do my best, do my little part that I can do, as you can do, because it's more accessible there. You know, because they start building more things if people bought more. And you're seeing a few pop up now. There's a few that are better nutritional foods, but they don't last long because they don't have the marketing campaign and all the stuff, the derivatives and all the rubbish they put in that food. The junk food's got low nutritional calories, but you are right. UK's not too far behind now, and that's pretty scary because it wasn't that way in the past. And the only thing you can put it down to is this sort of explosion of corporation, dominating things. And I think that the only way around that is have compassion for yourself. And this is going to go away from what a lot of people say in the field, because a lot of people are like, they'll sort of shout and scream to get that weight, and you've got to do it and beat yourself up. But if you do that, you're not going to get very far, because the mind doesn't work that well and that way anyway. And I think for me, I'm not saying accept it. That's going to be forever. What I'm saying is that take a long, hard look and think, this is where I am. I've done nothing wrong. It's okay. We've all been there. Life circumstance. Life's damn hard. Not easy. Okay? And food's pretty accessible in the world that we live in, and usually it is a quick fix to feeling better. So do things that you feel good doing. Exercise. When you exercise, you're not eating, by the way. You get endorphins. You probably won't eat for a long time afterwards. But watch those little traps, the triggers. When your blood sugar goes down, stabilize it. Just they're sort of key. Now, because of time and other things, I want to sort of do things a bit experientially. So if everyone's up for doing an experiential 10-minute hypnosis, I can do that. I'll leave it some stuff, and it'll save me from waffling on and putting you all to sleep anyway. So Paul's our DJ. Yeah, we're good to go, man. He's going to play a bit of music just to relax. If you want to lie down, you can lie down or make yourself comfortable. My challenge is to get Paul under trance at the back there. If I can hypnotise you, Paul, I'm doing good. Yeah. Okay, so take a moment now to make yourself comfortable. And as you make yourself comfortable, perhaps you become aware of your breathing. And as you become aware of your breathing, perhaps you can feel your feet on the floor, the back of the chair. Just breathe naturally and normally. And take the time to imagine going back to a time or a place where you felt really calm, relaxed, and at peace with the world. Perhaps it's a beach, perhaps it's the countryside, or maybe a family gathering, a place you can feel safe, calm. And perhaps at the beach you can see the wonderful blue sky and the water glistening off the background, the greenery of the countryside. Just having friendly people around you, support you, want the best for you, want the best for them. And fully absorb yourself. As you begin to feel really calm and peaceful and relaxed, you're in complete control. You can come back to here and now anytime you wish to. Just let yourself go. It's your time. So just let yourself go. And it's a bit like driving a car where you you're driving on the motorway and you're vigilant enough to pick up any oncoming traffic, or maybe a bug hits the windscreen and you just wipe it off, or a little bit of rain, wash it off, or maybe some sun beating down, put the visor down, really relax and calm and peaceful. And I know you've been thinking about your weight for a while now, and I know it can be cause of frustration. And I once knew someone who became really frustrated about their weight, and they tried one thing and the other and another and something else. Nothing seemed to work. And when things didn't work, they worked for a little bit and then they sort of didn't work at all. Took that realization that it was okay. They could be happy the way they were. You can be happy whatever way you are. And that can be the basis of washing away that denial and accepting the situation that it is. This person went through many challenges, like we all do. We go through family challenges, work challenges, life's changing. These can be very stressful. On a scale of 1 to 10, they can even hit 10 sometimes. But every challenge you've been through, you've got through, and every other challenge that's going to come through, you're going to get through. So you can be safe in the knowledge that you've got all the resources you need inside that will come with your challenges. And now you see the clear light of day objectively, and you can see yourself like watching a screen throughout the week, eating different foods, whatever those foods are. And take a moment now to reassociate and imagine writing a list of all the foods that you eat that are tipping the scales in terms of weight. And that could be chocolate, that could be cake, fast food, and you can see them on the production line. And you can see them round and round the production line. Think of your associations when you see these foods. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel? So there's a commercial that portrays crisps as these wonderful sources of food that are promoted by celebrities, the taste. But the reality is crisps, we know what crisps are, full of oil. And if you burnt a crisp, it would stink the room out, the stench, and you can see the dripping oil of the crisp. And there could even be chocolate. Sometimes chocolate's portrayed as fluffy and warm and a treat, when the reality is you can see that chocolate, what it is, the stuff they put in that chocolate is horrendous. And you can see the reflection in the mirror. And the reflection you see in the mirror is what that food and production line is causing you, the pain and problems it's causing you. And you can start to minimize, not all in one go, but let it flow like the production line, knock one out at a time, and add a production line of nicer food, high nutritional values food, fruits and vegetables and foods that you would like. And as you see yourself in reflection, you can think back to the time you were the way you want to be, or the way you want to be in your goal, and you see yourself healthy, radiant, buzzing, fantastic. And every time you reach your hand out to pick up an item of food that's causing you pain, you catch a reflection of yourself in that food. So if that food's chocolate, perhaps it's crisps, see yourself in that as a reflection of the pack of the crisps, on the chocolate, the way you don't want to be. And when you go to get some fruits and vegetables and nutrition foods, you see yourself in that product the way you want to be. You've done it before, you can do it again. You get to the way you want to be. No point beating yourself up. And as you see yourself going through the course of the week, at times when you used to eat certain foods that were sugary and processed, you replace those foods, you start to eat well now. And as you begin to eat well, you start getting to the way you want to be. In time, a week, 2 months, you start seeing results, 3 months, a year down the line, look back and think, what was all the fuss about? I'm feeling good, I'm feeling fantastic. And as you do that, you're at a roundabout, you can take one road, the other road. You carry on the same road you're going on now, think a year's time, 2 years' time, 5 years' time, 10 years' time, where you'll be, and take a reflection of yourself in the mirror in 10 years' time and think, wow, I could have controlled this. And you can control it. The good thing is it hasn't happened yet. And if you can take the other road, you eat nutritionally well, you exercise, you eat yourself in good shape. In a year's time, you can see yourself with family at the dinner table, Christmas time. 5 years' time, you see yourself radiant. In 10 years' time, you see yourself the way you want to be, feeling great. You might have your blips up and down, but you get compliments for saying you look really well, you look fantastic. You feel energetic, like feel wonderful. You look at yourself in the mirror and you see yourself the way you want to see. And it's not about that, it's about you being the way you want to be and feeling the way you want to feel. You have every right to be. And you can do it, you will do it. It's just about reassociating these foods. It can be done. Don't be beaten by the advertisers. Take control back of your mind, you can do it. And the realization that you've got complete control of your mind. And as you control your mind, you start to reflect and focus on the times you felt really good. And as I mentioned before, the person I spoke to got really frustrated about their weight, everything they did, until they realised that actually it was time to work out what they were eating. And it's like you keep bad food in the fridge, it contaminates the other food. You get rid of the bad food, you put better food in. Their realisation they had to eat better, and they started feeling better. And it's a bit of a spiral then. When they started feeling better and they were buzzing and feeling great, it was just a lifestyle change, a transitional phase. Evolution, not revolution. And with that, exercising, having more energy, feeling calmer and more peaceful. So I'm going to take a moment now to let you process that. And as you process that, you might have a realization in a day, in a week, in a month. But you will have the realization. And when you're ready, you will do what you need to do. And you can think of a list of reasons why. The fuel that burns the fire. I mentioned earlier before, parents who are obese are more likely to have kids that are obese, and that might be a fuel that burns the fire. For you, it could be that you've got a dress, wedding dress you want to get into, it could be that you've got sport you want to play, each something else, but that's the fuel that burns the fire, that keeps you going in the day, that are challenging. I'm going to take a moment now to pause and you just relax, and in your own time you can see yourself in the mirror, eating the right foods, looking well, looking the way you want to look, feeling great, and just let you process that. And as you process that, in your own time, you just can come back to the here and now. If you want to come back and stay where you are, Paul will wake you up tomorrow morning. He's going to come in at 6 o'clock as he does. And there we go. Okay, fantastic. So I'll just let you come around in your own time. There's a little bit of mini hypnosis, a little like the one I sent through to you. My apprentice here is drew some pictures for you. You're going to show some pictures. Here we go. These are the hypnotic pictures. These are the hypnotic pictures. Yeah. We're going to study these pictures. Yeah. So that's today, and you know, it's been a pleasure coming in, and you know, I think that what Paul's doing is fantastic. It's a fantastic gym here. I know Paul for a while, and I think what he's doing is really, really great. And I really want to, you know, one of my goals, and my goals have changed over the years, and I'm working in various areas now. If I can share my wisdom with people and help along the way, and I will do. But you're welcome to email me if you haven't received some resources I sent out there. If you have any questions on anything I've covered so far today, or any resources I sent out there, then certainly do email me. A lot of it just sort of centers around some of the stuff that we just did there. Just a gentle, generic hypnosis. Hypnosis got a stigma to it. People sort of see hypnosis as being this sort of, you know, weird and wonderful. Hypnosis is a gentle process that is naturalistic. There's nothing, I mean, the stigma of stage and the conventional hypnotist who sort of is very authoritarian, and it's just a guided meditation. it's what you do anyway, imagination. And really, for me, it's about dissociating from an unempowered state on the phenomena, associating to a more empowered state. It's about dissociating from a state, empowering state, promoting ideas and alternatives. Because, you know, the young man could see the uncle smoke and think idea, association, cool, behaviour. And then the parent could try and tell the young man, you shouldn't smoke, you shouldn't smoke. You try and convince a teenager, good luck to you. You'll never tell a teenager the error of their ways, they'll tell you otherwise. But you can do an experience for them, it might change their mind. So you could take them to an emphysema ward. Not that I'm recommending you doing that if you've got a child that smokes, because child protection. But the point being is that you go to an emphysema ward, idea, association, different behaviour. And I think, well, it's just not so cool. So we create experiences for people through story, through metaphor, through things that work for that person individually, for the greater good for change. So I want to thank you for coming along, and no doubt we'll see you again. Thank you so much.